Alright guys, so what I'm working on now is I am hardening off these plants, but I thought I'd give you a little update. I don't know if you can tell very well, but those are doing quite well. Those are about the size that you would get transplants from the store of. So that's from about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks, I think, something like that. I'll get the specific time. But what I'm working on right now is those are bell peppers that I've got too many in each cell, and here's the ones I just thinned, so you can see the difference. So I'm thinning all that out, but all of these tomatoes are all individual. So these are soil blocks here, and then I'm doing them in actual pots here. So anyway, we'll get them all hardened off and get some in the garden. Just a couple of observations though, let me show you. So you can see in the middle, right here, in the middle, that's where my fluorescent bulbs were the best, in the sense of both bulbs were there. And then what you have on the sides are some ones that are smaller, like this one right here. And for example, this one right back here, what that was is basically where I've got light that is in there, but it's not as consistent. It's not as much maybe as I need. So I'll probably go through and try to figure out if there's a way I can work around that. I don't know, based off of the way that my light setup is, but anyway, we'll see what works out. So anyway, so I'll do this for about a week or so of hardening them off. I'm going to put them in the wind for a couple of days, and then I'll start working them out to full sun here pretty quick. So anyway, so I've got more tomatoes that are getting ready to go in, but what I did yesterday is I actually planted a bunch of my tomatoes because I wanted to test them out. I didn't want to transplant them all because they're not completely hardened off yet, and then they die. So just a minute, I'll show you what I got put in yesterday. Alright, so I'm over here at the garden now. This first set of tomatoes are early girls. I bought a 6-pack of them because I wanted some early girls so that they'll be slicers. Then what I've got behind it are 12 of those tomato plants that I grew from seed. So one of them is like yellow pear, and then one is another red cherry tomato. So I got some of the cheapest tomato seed because I was trying to experiment with figuring out how to do these tomatoes. And so I wanted to go cheap, and then if they didn't work out, I would just go through and buy some actual plants. So anyway, got a big section of this row to finish. You can see the broccoli at the end down there. And then I've got all of this row right here that honestly is probably going to be tomatoes. So I've got a lot of them. But here's some other things. So right here you can see are the peas. They have germinated really well. I think they've just about everything's germinated. And then down here you can see them coming up, and I'm pretty excited. Let me see if I can get down here a little closer. You can kind of see those are carrots. And usually my carrot germination is terrible, but we have had perfect weather for carrot germination. It has been moist the entire time, and I have got them coming up everywhere. I don't know if you can see that very well, but they are the little bitty green things that are all in there. So anyway, that's done really well.
Today, you bound me over there.
Okay, so also something I normally have terrible germination on is spinach, but yet I have got really good germination on my spinach this time. So I'm pretty excited about how things are going. So anyway, and you can see all the peas that are going to be those running peas. They're all germinated really well too. They just go all the way down the fence. And then I'll show you one other thing down here. I've got potatoes all in this. So they'll be coming. But and if you can see this, so I have a problem germinating Swiss chard, but as you can tell, Swiss chard germinated really well. So I'm not sure what all happened this time, but anyway, things are rocking on along. And so the broccoli transplants are doing good, and then my onion and garlic over there are doing fine. I've actually got a lot of space over there to germinate. They're not doing very good?
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, I've got some more sections of the garden to take care of, but we'll see how it all works out. Alright guys, so I'm transplanting some more tomatoes. I did a bunch of them yesterday, and so I'm doing some more today. And so I'm going to actually do a bunch here and over there. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is about how deep you bury them. So you can see here yesterday, I buried them pretty deep, and I'll give you an illustration of how far I'm going to dig down. So you want to really put tomatoes really far down, because what will happen with tomatoes is that they'll actually put roots out from the sides of them. So if you want to do that, you can. I'm taking the two original leaves off of it, so, and then that's what you want whenever you're taking a pot out. So you can kind of see the roots are in there. They are not root bound. That's one of the problems when you do starts from the store and stuff, is that I can't tell you, like with those broccoli for example, they were root bound when I got them, so I'm not sure how good they're gonna do. But anyway, using the plastic containers is fine. It's not going to be an issue one way or the other. But I'll show you in just a minute about those soil blocks, and you can see a marked difference between them. What I'm doing on my spacing is I'm doing them about 18 inches or so. That's probably more space than they need. 18 is actually the recommended, but you could do them probably 10 inches or something like that. But for us, I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with staking them up. If I want to do some type of A-frame, or if I want to do some type of cages, or what. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm sure someone may be thinking that I'm doing this a little early. It is a little early for tomatoes to go in. I planted mine in February last year, actually a little bit earlier than this. What I'm planning on doing is just trying to just be careful and cover them if something happens. So we're down here in zone 8B, so that's not going to be a huge issue, but it is still something to consider. You always want to be careful with your plants. You don't want to put them in and then lose them all. So, but hopefully you can see about how far I'm burying all of these in the ground. And as I mentioned again, you really don't want them root bound, and that's about the time when you want them. These, I mean, they could have kept going, but that's about the time that you're wanting when they get their roots to the bottom. They've been growing real well, and the soil here is super moist. We've been getting just tons of rain, but it's not really been like volume, just it's been like every day. I mean, our soil is just completely soaked in the backyard and stuff, but in the garden, because I got all the compost and everything, it's actually fine. So, alright guys, so I wanted to show you these soil blocks. So you can actually see they actually air prune. They'll go to the edges, and if they're close together like these, they'll actually run together. But you can see I start them in these they're really small soil blocks, whatever size they are, and then I potted them up to the 2-inch ones. And anyway, again, when you're getting your transplants, this is what you want. You don't want it root bound. You want the roots to go out, not to start going in a circle, and that's what will happen with your plants. So you're getting a plant that's going to be much healthier, to have a better start and all that kind of stuff. So anyway,
just more value of trying to do your starts yourself. They should grow a lot better. But another thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm not going to do carrots this time, but what you can do down the middle of these is you can actually do some other crops during it. So what I'm actually going to try this year is down the middle of these tomatoes on both sides. Obviously I can't over here, I'm trying the spacing on this, but what you can do is you can put a row of lettuce or carrots or something like that down the middle of this. Carrots might be a little long, but carrots are going to be growing down instead of growing up. But what that allows you to do is you can actually double your space. So you can have the lettuce go through, and it matures in about 60 days if you've got a head lettuce or something like that. Then you just cut the head or whatever. And the tomatoes, they're going to take a while. They're going to take 70, 80 days where they start putting on fruit, and then they'll just keep going and going and going. By the time they really get going, you're already going to harvest out that lettuce. So anyway, you'll see a little bit later, after I get these put in, I'll come back with the rake and actually do a row of lettuce down the middle of it. So, all right, so I'm out here with Jude in the garden, and you can kind of see right here, I've got a row that I've got in between these tomatoes. And so what I'm doing on this side is the same thing. So let me make that row, and then I'll show you what I'll do. Now I've got the row done, and now I'm going to go through and plant it. So here's my seed. I wish I had pelleted seed, but it is what it is. So much cheaper this way from the feed store. So, all right, about to get after it.